Hi Autophiles, Subhash here, and I thought I'd do a follow-up to last year's video on my less than optimistic take on the Perodua EV project. Yesterday, a bunch of media got to see the Perodua EV. I didn't get to see it, but my boss did, and a lot of people kind of informed me, filled me in on what this product is like and what the plan is for Perodua, and they're going to launch very soon as well. Today we're with the Proton e.MAS 5, so complete coincidence apparently, but there's a lot to be said about what's going on in the industry. So, a year ago I was very, let's just say, pessimistic about the outlook of this project, and I think today my view is quite reinforced. I'm still very pessimistic about the prospects of this Perodua EV, and let me share why. But before I share why, let me give you an analogy, and it's not a perfect analogy, but I think it's very, very suitable. Think of it as the Myvi moment for EVs. The Perodua Myvi came out, 20 years ago, and it was based on borrowed technology. It was based on a Daihatsu. The platform, the engine, everything was just basically copy-paste. Perodua did very minimal work. I think the hood was redesigned, the badges were redesigned, and basically it was just like, hey, learn how to make this in Malaysia so you can sell a bunch of it. And it was a complete success. And contrast that with the Proton response, which was the Proton Savvy. The Proton Savvy was an in-house design. It had some borrowed technology from Renault in terms of the powertrain, but the platform was a Malaysian platform, and that platform is still going on today. That's a different story, but yeah, essentially that's what's happening in the EV space now, because you had the Myvi, which is a borrowed project for Perodua, and you have the Proton e.MAS 5 now, which is a borrowed project for Proton. Of course, Proton wants to say that they co-developed it, but we all know the Proton e.MAS 5 is a copy-paste project from Geely, just like how the Myvi was a copy-paste project from Daihatsu. So you see the parallels now. And on the other hand, you have the Proton Savvy, which was an in-house project for Proton as a response to the Myvi. Now, what is Perodua doing now in the EV age? They're doing an in-house EV, which is just like the Savvy. The platform is apparently a Perodua in-house design, and it's got borrowed technology from BYD and from Shanghai EV and from a few other partners with stuff that they couldn't do in-house, they had to borrow or license. So I'm seeing the parallels so clearly right now. And just like how the Myvi was a breakthrough vehicle in its class for the time, 20 years later I'm looking at the e.MAS 5 and the same story is unfolding there. That's a breakthrough vehicle. I haven't driven it yet. This whole day has been like a couple of other people in my team driving it, but tomorrow is going to be my time to drive it. But I can already see, just from the way it behaved coming up here to Genting, just on the tech that's in the car, the feel, the size, everything, it's so like the Myvi. Small on the outside, big on the inside, priced just right so that most government servants can afford it. Most people like me can afford it. Most people who can afford cars 3 times more than it can buy it without thinking they're getting a very cheap or budget option that is not suitable. It's like that exact Myvi formula just distilled into EV form. I love it for Proton, and I love it for the EV space, because the EV space really needs a car like the e.MAS 5. So that's my hot take. The e.MAS 5 is the Myvi moment for Proton. But this is not an e.MAS 5 video, this is a Perodua EV video. Yesterday they previewed the car, and my boss got to see it, a lot of members of the media got to see it, and go up close, drive it on Sepang. And they're not allowed to talk about it because they were there and they signed an NDA, but I wasn't there and I didn't sign any NDA. So most of this is coming from the media members here today, all the gossip that's going around. But the picture that's being painted is that this product is just way too complicated for what it's supposed to be. Let me break down what I know about the Perodua EV, or what I think I know. 1. They got a lot of tech from external parties. So Magnus Tire helped them, I think, in the consultancy phase to create the platform, create the production for this car. So that's one partner. You got Shanghai EV, I think, supplying the battery management system. Then you've got BYD supplying the motor, and you got CATL supplying the battery. And I'm sure there are a lot of other partners involved as well. So it's a little bit of a messy project. Oh, on top of that, you've got Tan Chong's factory being used for something. I thought initially that Tan Chong was going to be the ones assembling the EV for them, But apparently they've also bought a couple of other factories to help facilitate local assembly of this EV, not just with Tanchong, but with other things. So Tanchong is doing some stuff, but there's another factory where it's like apparently almost like a dark factory, so it's almost humanless in its operation. So it seems quite advanced, which is good. So I mean, all of this is interesting. It's not good or bad yet, but this is just what we know. It's a big melting pot of a lot of different partners and different allies all working together to create this project, right? And you have to notice here that Daihatsu and Toyota are not really in the picture. From what I can gather, this entire project was a Malaysian project, as in it came from Perodua's like spending money. It was not like, hey, taking money from Toyota or from Daihatsu. It was like, this is Perodua's money to spend, and they're going to spend it on developing this EV by themselves, since there's no product that they can license from Toyota or Daihatsu that makes sense. No Toyota, no Daihatsu involvement as far as I can tell. Maybe some switchgear and stuff like that, but that's pretty minimal. We know that they're targeting a price point of something like 80,000 ringgit. So you're definitely not at E.MAS 7 or E.MAS 5 territory. It's going to be bigger than the E.MAS 5, at least from the outside. A little bit smaller than the E.MAS 7 from the outside. But from what I can gather, here's the problem. The E.MAS 5 is more spacious on the inside. If you've seen the spy shots of the Perodua EV, it's got a very dramatic slope to its roofline, and apparently that really eats into the rear headroom. People my height are going to struggle sitting behind, and that's not very Perodua Myvi, is it? I mean, just contrast that to the E.MAS 5. Like, I was sitting in the back all the way up, going from like Bamboo Hills to Genting. I was in the back seat, and I did not feel uncomfortable at all. I mean, it's not ideal, but it was like sitting in the back of a Myvi for me. I was not constrained at all. I could like move my legs around. It was fine. Looking at how Perodua is doing it, it's not going to be as ergonomic as the E.MAS 5, and I think that could be a potential issue. The other issue is that because the chassis is a homegrown design, it's actually raised up in terms of its floor. So sitting behind, your legs are going to be very high up. You can't relax, you can't get your thigh support. So I don't know, I shouldn't say, final word, it's like written off, but from what I've been told, everybody who sat in the back of the Perodua EV commented that it was just a little bit too small in the back. That's one aspect. They didn't get that Myvi feel, first generation Myvi feel of it being huge. E.MAS 5 gets it right perfectly. Next thing to note, the pricing model. Like I said, they're going to target like 85,000 ringgit, which is fine. I think for an EV below 100,000 is like, you're starting to prick some years up. And Perodua can sell cars that are up to 100,000 ringgit. They've proven it so many times before. But the problem is they haven't really proven it so many times before. What they've proven is that they can climb up beyond 70,000, beyond 80,000. But beyond that, it's really hard for Perodua to actually justify asking for that much money. I think the Ativa asked for like 73,000 ringgit, and it's still flying off the shelves. The Arus asked for a little bit more than that, but it's, I guess, a bigger car, so it's fine. But asking for 85,000 ringgit, and then on top of that, there are apparently going to be a lot of terms and conditions bundled into that 85,000 ringgit asking price. For one, they're going to kind of make you sign a contract or something, some kind of agreement whereby you can't sell the car to anyone other than Perodua's used car business. I don't know how they're going to enforce this. I don't know how the mechanism is going to work, but apparently that's their idea. They want to protect the resale value of their electric vehicle, so they're going to make sure that only they are selling it, and only they are reselling it, and only they are rebuying it, I guess, of existing customers. I don't know how that's going to work, because it's not been done before. It's not really a leasing model. The car itself is going to be sold like a normal car, so you're going to get higher purchase and all that. It's just a very different package from anything else we've ever seen. On top of that, the battery is not included in that 85,000 ringgit price or 80,000 ringgit price, whatever it is. It's not included. So they're going to lease it to you separately, but they're working with banking partners so that the overall price of the car, like on loan, is going to include the battery leasing price. I don't know how they're going to structure that as well. So it's going to be like you pay 1,000 ringgit a month, 800 of which is for the car and 200 of which is for leasing the battery. What the hell is that? I mean, why complicate it so much? And this is not like they're talking about battery swapping and all that. It's not like you can drive the car to a service center and swap the battery and then keep driving after that and then swap the battery again. No, it's not like that. The battery swapping feature here is for if that battery that you're leasing has problems, you can take it to a service center, a few service centers which are designated for this battery swapping, and they can do the swap there for you as a kind of warranty claim slash, just get rid of the battery and swap it in, that kind of thing. But it's not a hot swap to substitute recharging, at least not at launch. So like, what is that? Why make the battery hot swappable and then not have a rollout of a battery swapping station program? I understand battery swapping is a fad, I guess, or it's not proven yet, but then what's the whole point of that feature? It just doesn't inspire confidence in the battery technology. Like right now, yeah, there's a lot of skeptics talking about how, I will never buy an EV because when the battery fails, what are you going to do, right? But there's enough data out there that suggests that the battery can last almost all the time. Almost every manufacturer's battery, bar a few maybe, most of the major manufacturers of batteries and electric cars, the batteries last 10 years, 11 years, whatever it is, it lasts the lifetime of the vehicle. Yeah, after that is the issue. So if you're telling the customer right now that they've got to pay 100 extra every month or 200 extra every month as a guarantee for when, in 8 to 9 years, when the car is probably going to be retired, that they don't have to worry about the resale value, like what kind of calculation is that? It's so much simpler to do the math on the E.MAS 5. On the E.MAS 5, it's like 70,000 ringgit. Just Kira burn half of that, right? Just pretend that you lost 35,000 ringgit. If you can afford to lose 35,000 ringgit in 5 years, then take the loan. It's fine. You'll probably be okay. So I don't understand the whole system that Perodua is cooking up with this EV of theirs. I think it's just way too complicated. I don't think the product has that Myvi-ness about it. I think Perodua lost that Myvi way a couple of years ago, maybe not even a couple of years ago. I think they lost it around the time they launched the facelift Beza, maybe even around the time they launched that new Myvi. Because I've been driving Perodua vehicles for the last 10 plus years. And I've seen Perodua vehicles go from cheap and cheerful, fun, family-friendly, to being pretentious, hard plastics. I mean, it's always been hard plastics, but like hard and glossy black plastics for no reason. Just trying to be something they're not. Trying to be over-aggressive with the styling, trying to be stiffer in the suspension, trying to be sophisticated in the powertrain, when the whole appeal around Perodua was just simple motoring that was fundamentally correct. And I don't know, I've seen that slip over the years. I'm not saying they're bad cars, but the first Myvi I ever drove versus the last Myvi I've ever driven, give me the first Myvi any day of the week. And when I speak to a lot of people who are, Myvi owners of the old Myvi and the new Myvi, a lot of them say the same thing. The older Myvi was an easier car to drive, a more pleasant car to drive. I don't know. This has become a rant about Perodua. A little bit undeserved. They're not a bad company, and like I said, the effort is very earnest. They're not doing any hanky-panky as far as I can tell. They're trying to do it right. It's just that at the end, the result is going to be complicated, difficult to understand, and ultimately the taxpayer, or rather the Malaysian customer base, is going to be the one who has to pay the price. If this is a failure, or whatever it is, like if the product comes out, the person who's paying for the car is the one that ultimately suffers. So you got to choose what kind of suffering you want. To me, honestly, in my mindset, if I'm going to buy an EV, I'm buying the E.MAS 5. My elbow keeps cracking. I'm buying the E.MAS 5, not because it's a great car. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like about the E.MAS 5. I don't like that stupid star galaxy theme that's going on. It's clearly taken from some misdirection from Geely, because it was supposed to be a Geely Galaxy product. It's got like some weird pattern on the C-pillar, and then you see that pattern like in the dashboard trim, and then you see it here and there, and I'm just like, yeah, but this is the E.MAS 5. Shouldn't that pattern disappear and be substituted with EMAS or gold or whatever it is? No, it's just got that same old Geely pattern on it. So that's one thing I don't like about the E.MAS 5. I don't like that the range is like 300 odd kilometers. I mean, we drove up to Genting and we drove a little bit hard, and I'm pretty sure most of the cars arrived here with less than half the battery. So the battery could have been a bit bigger. I'm not a big fan of the curvy looks, but I don't think it's a bad looking car. And I really don't like the white interior. I think it just gets dirty so fast. But there's an option for a black interior. So the things I don't like about the E.MAS 5 are all aesthetic, or mostly aesthetic, except for the battery thing. Whereas the Perodua thing, it's the opposite. I like the way it looks, and I like the battery size. But other than that, like, there's nothing about the Perodua EV, from what I can gather, there's nothing about it that appeals to me. So if I were going to go out there and buy an EV today, I would be replacing one of my cars with the E.MAS 5, because I think that makes a lot more sense than a Perodua EV. But I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. The launch date is about, I think, 2 weeks or less. So there's still a big chance for Perodua to turn things around, to prove me wrong. I'm very happy to be proven wrong, but my theory still stands, and 1 year later, I'm still, if anything, I'm more unoptimistic about this Perodua EV project. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. I mean, I'm very happy for Perodua to build their own EV. I mean, it's amazing that they get to build their own car without Daihatsu or Toyota helping them out. That's really great, but ultimately, what can they achieve with this? I want to know. I want to see. Thanks for watching. Signing out.